Okay, this is World Literature, Chapter 10, Generations. Okay, we'll be reading stories from Russia, Vietnam, Scotland, and India. Families are made of people of many ages who play various roles. As we get older, the roles change. Children become parents. Parents become grandparents. In the process, many things are passed from generation to generation. The stories and poems in this chapter are about the special things that live on from generation to generation. Right, our first story is The Old Grandfather and His Little Grandson, an adapted folk tale by Leo Tolstoy. Okay. Literary term is theme, which is the main idea of a novel, story, poem, or play. Right. Selection vocabulary: scolded, told someone angrily what he or she did wrong. Ashamed, feeling guilty or sorry for something done wrong. Right? Usually parents teach their children. In this short tale, however, it is the child who teaches his parents a valuable lesson. Okay? The grandfather is old, but he still deserves respect. Okay? The grandfather had become very old. His legs would not carry him. His eyes could not see, and his ears could not hear. He had no teeth. Sometimes when he ate, bits of food dropped out of his mouth. His son and his son's wife no longer let him eat with them at the table. He had to eat his meals in the corner near the stove. One day they gave the grandfather his food in a bowl. He tried to move the bowl closer. It fell to the floor and broke. His daughter-in-law scolded him. She told him that he spoiled everything in the house and broke their dishes. She said that from now on he would get his food in a wooden dish. The old man sighed and said nothing. A few days later, the old man's son and his wife were in their hut resting. They watched their little boy playing on the floor. He was making something out of small pieces of wood. His father said, "What are you making, Misha?" The little grandson said, "I'm making a wooden bucket. When you and Mama get old, I'll feed you out of this wooden dish." The young man and his wife looked at each other, and tears filled their eyes. They were ashamed they had treated their old grandfather so badly. From that day on, they let the old man eat at the table with him, and they took better care of him. Okay. The theme of this folk tale is the lesson the little boy teaches his parents. Okay. This is a famous painting called Gramercy Park. Norman Rockwell, who was a very famous American painter, shows a grandfather and grandson spending time together. Okay. All right. Literature practice. Okay. Answer these questions on a separate sheet of paper. Number 1, why did the son and his wife make the grandfather eat in the corner? Number 2, what happens when the grandfather's bowl falls and breaks? Number 3, what does the little boy learn from his parents? Number 4, what do the parents learn from their son? Okay. Tracing your family history. There are 3 generations living together in the folk tale, The Old Grandfather and His Little Grandson. If any family member wanted to know more about the family background, he or she might research the history of the family. Researching your family history is called genealogy. Genealogy tells you about your family history and gives you a closer look at who you are. A genealogist can help you find out about your family history. A genealogist begins with a family tree. This tree shows 3 generations. Okay, there's the grandmother and the grandfather, and they were married, and they had Aunt Sophie and Mother. Okay, on this side, grandmother and grandfather are married, and they had the father and Uncle Dom. Okay, so then the mother and the father marry, and then they have you. Okay, the genealogist will find out information about each person on the family tree. The information will include each person's date and place of birth, the date and place of marriage, and the date and place of death. These facts are called vital statistics. Each state in the United States has a Bureau of Vital Statistics that record information for people in that state.